All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining me. My name is Sam Healy. Welcome to the Flipside. I am going to be doing a live review. I've done one of these things so far, and it went over pretty well. There were some snags to it. It was the first time I did it, and it went a little long. But hopefully I'm going to be able to tighten up the reins a little bit here today and make it a little bit more of a smoother experience for you, the audience, but still cover the same information that you would want to have covered in a review. So there is that. Thank you for joining me, though. I do appreciate it. The first part of this, Tom is here. Thank you for joining me, Tom. He's going to be our moderator, so he'll make sure all of you guys and gals are behaving themselves in the chat. I'm sure you will. I usually don't have a problem with that. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Audio and video are good. Thank you. Good evening, Luke. It is the afternoon, sir. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what's wrong with you. Actually, I do know what's wrong with you. You are, there's nothing wrong with you. You are just simply in a different time zone. Thank you for joining us from all the way over there in England. Good to see you, Luke. Shirt is epic. This was a gift from Jessie, my wife, and I enjoy it. Since I'm wearing these lapel mics, I might be not using t-shirts as much whenever we're in this kind of situation, but usually I'm wearing a black t-shirt, so a black on a black t-shirt isn't going to really show that much, so I'm not going to worry about it. But today I was wearing my gray Love Thy Nerd shirt, and it looked a little tacky. So I'm wearing a button-down Hawaiian, my Chewy shirt, and that is going to be how we go today. So thank you. There is plenty wrong with me, but thank you. Not really, Luke. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be using the For King and Country as a figurehead, this set as a figurehead for the review, the components I'm going to show you. I do have everything else back here that I own, and as you can see, I own a lot of Unmatched. So that's probably a little bit of a hashtag spoiler as to where my review is going to fall, but I will try to be as fair and comprehensive for a review. This is not a learn to play video, but you know, with reviews, we do try to be as comprehensive as possible to give you an idea of how the game plays. And that's really my goal in this review. So Kabuki is here as well. Wow, both of my moderators in one live video. This is awesome. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. So we're going to be headed into this, and what we're going to do first is we're going to give you a basic overview of the game. I do have a couple of different angles set up, so that should be useful so that we can show you some cards a little bit close up. I have my phone set up right here as a third angle, and then I also have a top down over there. So Unmatched, 10 out of 10, just say it. Oh, somebody's watched my my impromptu live yesterday where I explained that I don't give 10 out of 10s because usually there's something, and I'll talk about that one small thing in Unmatched that kind of keeps it away from that elusive 10 out of 10. But we'll get to that later on. Did you get the Unmatched Adventures? No, I haven't got that yet. But again, it's not that I don't want to, I just haven't been there. I wanted to demo it when I was at Origins, but it didn't make it to Origins. And I was absent from Gen Con, and I was absent from Essence. So I really haven't had a chance to get my hand on a copy of it yet. But, you know, all things in due season. We're not really worried about getting all the new stuff as it comes out and all that kind of stuff. That's just not what I'm going to be stressing about for the channel. But I definitely rate, Kabuki says, some games perfect 10s. So I understand and I get it. I totally do. It's just one of my quirks, and I'm perfectly fine erring on the side of caution. Mythic Battles is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's perfect. Mythic Battles Pantheon. I really wanted to get the Ragnarok Mythic Battles, but I haven't been able to do it yet. Just also as an addendum, my dog is wandering around the house here. So if you hear some things clattering and maybe even some barks and stuff like that, that's Strider. But, you know, hopefully that's just how we roll around here on the flip side. But let's go ahead and get started, and we'll explain the game. Again, what I'm going to be using as a figurehead is this little guy right here, For King and Country. Now, For King and Country, as you can see from the cover here, has Black Panther, Black Widow, and Winter Soldier in it. 4 characters, playable characters. So just a few of the you know, kind of product information stuff here. You're looking at being able to play Unmatched with 2 to 4 players. It's going to take you about 30 to 45 minutes. Board Game Geek says that it's about 20 to 40 minutes. I don't think I've ever played a game that was only 20 minutes long. Could it happen? Sure. But more often than not, I think you're going to be looking at around 30 to 45 minutes, probably closer to 45 minutes if both of you know what you're doing. Now, you can go up to 4 players, and with more players, you might have it go shorter. Now, that seems strange because basically what you'll have here is you'll have the opportunity of more people teaming up on each other. So you could have characters knocked out more quickly than you would in a regular 2-player game. So keep that in mind. I do think that this game is best at 2. Can it play well at 3? Can it play well at 4? That depends on the people playing it. My personal opinion, I think it's best at 2, mano y mano. 3, you run into that issue where you have that a lot of 3-player games run into, where you have 2 people teaming up on one person, and then inevitably one of those 2 people gets knocked down harder. Then when that 3rd guy gets knocked out, the person who was able to stay a little bit stronger usually runs away with the game. But again, there's always nuances. But I just don't tend to enjoy 3-player games. 4-player games is fine. But again, it makes for a little bit of a crowded board, and what I think is really a 2-player game. It does re-implement Star Wars Epic Duels, which is if you know what Restoration Games is all about, usually they take games that have left the limelight, so to speak. Strider, lay down. Sorry. He's walking around, so he just needs to chill out. So that's what he's doing now. He's a good boy. Anyway, it re-implements Star Wars Epic Duels, which was a game designed by Craig Van Ness and Rob Daviau. And Rob Daviau has, wow, I just really massacred his name, and it's not a hard name to say. Sorry about that, Rob. But basically, he and Justin have kind of taken Star Wars Epic Duels under their wing at Restoration Games, and they've kind of retooled it, modernized it a bit, and made a few changes here and there, and come up with this new Unmatched game system that you can have all of these different characters here. They sell characters in double packs, which are the ones that are about that size, like Houdini and the Genie, and then Robin Hood and Bigfoot. What? Robin Hood and Bigfoot. Yeah, that's the cool thing about this game. You can take these different mythical creatures and characters and kind of just slam them together. That's something that I've always thought was a cool idea. Anyway, and then you can also buy them in the 3-packs, like the Legends Battle of Legends sets, Volume 1 and 2 there. Then you have Hell's Kitchen, Brains and Brawn, Redemption Row. This is not everything that is available. And then For King and Country, as I've showed you before, is also a three character package. So that's what you can usually pick it up in 2 or 3 packages. And then whether or not you play 2 to 4 players is really kind of the mode of play that you want to use. So I usually prefer 2 players, but you could change that. It's got an 8.3 rating on BGG, and that's with over 1,500 ratings. So it's not just a couple of people rating it, really high, and then so forth and so on. And then it has a 2 out of 5. Actually, it's like a 1.98. I'm just going to round it up to 2. 2 out of 5 complexity rating on the Geek. So that gives you an idea of all of the basic data type information that the game has. I do have a kind of an anecdotal story. When Justin was first thinking about taking Epic Duels and making the game Unmatched, he actually took a line of sight system that I really enjoyed from Tannhäuser. And Tannhäuser, and they actually do give credit in the book for the line of sight system that we'll get into later on. But he told me he was going to use that for Unmatched, and I was super stoked. And then he gave some copies in, and I just wasn't able to play them. For one reason or another, it just didn't fall to my table, but he was still very generous. He was still very cool in that right, and he gave me a couple of packs. I think back then he gave me the Robin Hood and Bigfoot and the Battle of Legends Volume 1. Those are the 2 sets that he gave me, and I was stoked to have them, but I never got them to the table. So what happened? Well, I kept hold of them because I knew I was going to like the line of sight system. I liked the arena battle type of game, and so got around and they just started coming up with all this Marvel stuff. Well, I'm a huge Marvel fan as well, so I just grabbed all of this stuff, started playing it, and we'll get to what I thought about it here in a little bit. But Tannhäuser was a great game. Loved the line of sight system, and I'm stoked that he was able to use it for this game. Now, with gameplay, and with that, we're going to go ahead and go down to the second thing here. Lay down. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go in here. Oh, Jesse's here. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. She's actually away at a teacher's conference right now, and I'm super missing her, and she's missing me. But anyway, she does definitely like the Houdini and Genie versus the Genie. That's probably her favorite pack, but we'll get to that. Thank you, Ricky. That's a rad shirt. Thank you. I appreciate it. And haven't gotten any of the Marvel sets yet. Tom says, Adventures, I really like the co-op mode. So I'm just hitting some of these. Did you ever play Epic Duels? Yes. We did play Epic Duels a lot, actually. We had copies for the Dice Tower, and we played it fairly often. I wouldn't say all the time, but it was one of our favorites from back in the day. Cobble and Fog next to go out of print. Ooh, I better grab a copy of that. Because that is probably one of the more touted versions, and I don't have one yet, so I'm going to have to find it and buy it. Matthew Vincent, looking forward to the Nobunaga Oda. Wish it was Musashi Miyamoto instead, though. Okay. I don't know what that means, but we're going to get to gameplay. All right, so you basically have a board laid out for you, and then you'll have places for the second player's character and the first player's character. And generally speaking, if a character has a sidekick, then they'll be able to go into the same zone. It doesn't have to be adjacent, but it can go into the same zone as your main character. So Maria Hill here, since she's backing up Black Widow, she could go in any of these places that have an orange part to their ring. That denotes what zone Black Widow is in. So, and that's really the line of sight system, which is pretty cool. So, for example, Maria Hill, if she's going to make a ranged attack, there are ranged and melee characters in this game, but if she's going to make a ranged attack, she could hit any area that, or any ring, any space that has the same color as the ring that she's standing in. So if she's standing here, she can hit anybody that has green or orange. If she's standing here, she can hit anybody that's standing in a green, orange, or purple zone. So that's kind of the cool thing about this system. It really takes all of the guesswork out of line of sight right out of the picture. So I really enjoy this line of sight system. I'll show you a little bit later on, but on the other side, there is a patterned version of this line of sight system for those that are colorblind. So that's also a cool thing about it, but I digress. We'll get to it. Now, On your turn, during a game of Unmatched, you have to take 2 actions. And those 2 actions can be any of the 3 of the following, which are maneuvering, which is moving your people around, scheming, which is basically where you're going to be taking one of these cards and playing them out of your hand with the lightning bolt, or if you're on a spot where that has a scheme tile, then you can use those things during scheming. Or you can simply attack, which is where you're going to be. If you're a melee character, you have to be adjacent. Well, that's not adjacent, is it? You have to be adjacent to the person, following these adjacency lines here. Or if you're ranged, like we said earlier, you can shoot at anybody that is in the same zone as you are. So in this particular area, you would have... you would be able to have line of sight on a Black Widow and so forth. Black Widow specifically is a melee. I'm sorry, she is a ranged character, as denoted by this card right here. And I'll switch to my other camera so that you can kind of see this, because it does give some good information on how it's supposed to work. So here with Black Widow's card here, you have a couple of different things. So first of all, you show that she is a ranged character. It also tells you what her starting health is going to be, shown right there. It also shows you what her base movement is going to be. And then it gives you a bit of a special rule that Black Widow is going to have to follow. In this case, it basically says that you start with the Moscow Protocol scheme card, which is this one right here. And so she starts with 6 cards in her hand instead of 5, but that 6th card is just the Moscow Protocol. And then Maria Hill, her sidekick, also is a ranged person, and her health is going to start at 6. All right, so that's what this does. On the back of the card, however, is the player aid that is basically going to tell you what you can do on your turn. So, like I said here, you have to take 2 actions. They can be any one of these 3, and you can take 2 of the same. You can take them in any order, it doesn't matter, but you must perform 2 actions, and you can't skip an action. So you can maneuver, which is basically you're going to draw a card out of your hand, and then you're going to move your characters, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Scheme is you're going to be playing one of these yellow lightning bolt cards and carrying out the effects of whatever it is, and then you can attack, or you play an attack and defend card. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. But that's the general idea of what you're going to be doing on your turn. The goal of the game is to get your opponent down to 0 health. That's what you're trying to do. Once that is happening, the game immediately ends. Now, what about your sidekicks? Well, you could leave them alone, you could knock them out, you can do whatever, but if your sidekick gets knocked down to 0, that does not end the game. The other hero must be knocked out, not sidekicks. Sidekicks can be helpful, they can be strategic, they can be very tactical, but they do not affect the end of the game at all. So, different kinds of cards in the game, and I'm going to use Winter Soldier's cards to show you the different cards that are in the game. So you have defense cards that are used for defense only, which is the blue here. You also have attack cards that are for attack only, which are red, and they have that symbol. Defense has the shield in the bottom. We already showed you scheme cards, which have a yellow banner with a lightning bolt. But then we also have these purple banners, which can be an attack or a defense, whatever the user wants it to be. Now, on top of that, whenever you play a card, there's going to be certain monikers that will tell you when the effect actually fires off. So sometimes it'll say after combat, which a lot of these Winter Soldiers do. Then you also have some that will say immediate, and then others that will say during combat. So whenever those things fire off, that's when you actually take care of those things. Another thing is you'll have a bonus, is that what it's called? Oh, good night. I forgot the name. Not bonus, but it starts with a B though. Where is it? Boost. There we go. Boost. So you have a boost value here that Some things, basically, more often than not, your movement can be boosted. And basically what you have here is you have your base movement of 2, like the Winter Soldier does here. But whenever you're moving, if you have any of these cards in your hand that have a boost value on it, you can discard them without doing anything else on the card, just to add that number to your movement. So that's what boosting can do. Black Panther, though, does have the ability with his vibranium suit and his claws to use boost cards to boost other things that he's doing. So keep that in mind. But generally speaking, more often than not, you're going to be boosting your movement, not anything else. Another thing I wanted to talk about here using Black Panther's cards is that sometimes this will say what character it can use, or rather can use this card. So only Black Panther can use this card, and Shuri can only use this card. But either Black Panther or Shuri can use all 3 of these cards because it says any right there. So that's another thing to keep in mind throughout the course of the game. Other than that, what you're basically going to be doing is moving around the different boards, the different spaces on the boards, trying to level attacks against your opponent. When you make an attack, you're basically going to, for example, Winter Soldier is a ranged person. So let's just say he is here and he is attacking Black Widow, and he wants to play this card right here. So he's going to play this card, and it's a 6 attack. But what he would do is he would play it face down and announce that he's attacking Black Widow. Black Widow would look at her card, and she says she doesn't have to, but she can choose to defend. And if she does, she's going to play that card face down as well. Then you reveal both cards, and any effects that would happen immediately are taken care of first, then during combat, and then after combat things will happen. So in this particular case, you have 6 going against a 3 defense. So basically, Black Widow is going to get hit for 3 damage. So you'll take her damage meter here and just move it down to 10. And then because her defense does take it down, then after combat, these 2 things happen. It says move the opposing figure up to 2 spaces. Wow, okay. And then this one says your opponent may draw 1 card. So basically, Black Widow would draw 1 card up into her hand, and then Black Widow would be able to move Winter Soldier up to 2 spaces. So let's just move him back here like that. And that would be the end of that combat. Then it would go to Black Widow's turn, and she'd be able to do whatever she wants to do as well. So that's kind of how combat works. It's very simple, not difficult at all. If you're standing on some of these other spaces over here, you're able to use that as a boost to your combat or defense, for example, with this one. Or if you're standing on a spot like this and it has the scheme, then you can take a scheme action and actually use this card right here, Rocket Packs. It says place your fighter in any space on the board. Once you use it, though, it goes back into the box, and only 1 person can use it whenever they try to use it. But you have to be in the area that it is connected to in order to use that scheme or attack or defense bonus. So if, for example, in this scenario where he attacked Black Widow, if he chose to attack Maria Hill, she possibly, let's see if there was any, okay, there weren't any defense values. So that is a situation where she could have used this to give herself +2 defense because she wouldn't have had any defense, and a 6 attack would have taken her out since she only has 6 damage or health to begin with. So she could have discarded this and only taken 4 damage, which means she would have been down to just 2. All right, that's basically how combat works. And that, in a nutshell, is really how the game works. You're basically simply just trying to take your other hero out. Taking out a sidekick means that it's just going to be you 2 together, and you're not going to have that other person to have to deal with it. But it doesn't really end the game. The only thing that ends the game is the fact that you're going to be able to take the other hero out. to 0 health first. And that's basically about it. One of the cool things about the game is that you have decks that are very asymmetric. Now, there are some cards that are similar in the different character decks, but generally speaking, you are dealing with very individualized decks, which is really cool for me because I love the idea of variable player powers. I love how each character kind of is not the same as everybody else. I love the special abilities here, and I love the special little rules. Black Widow has this little missions thing that she can accomplish these different scheme cards, and if she does that, she gets a lot of different kinds of bonuses throughout the course of the game. So, for example, with Moscow Protocol, she can draw 1 card and gain 1 action and then acquire a new mission. So it's just a little bit of a... it brings to light that espionage feel that Black Widow always had. So that's a cool thing as well. But generally, that's how the game plays. You can play the game with a couple of different modes. You can have just a free-for-all where you have 4 people going at each other all at the same time. You do have team play where you can have 2 players, 2 teams of 2 going after each other. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as how the game plays. There is not a lot of minutia in the rulebook. I mean, if you look at the rulebook, it is small, it's compact, and there are, let's see, for actual rules, you're looking at, there's 13 pages, and this is what the pages look like. So we're not talking about a heavy mechanical game or anything like that. It's a 2 out of 5 on the geek. Come on. So that's just how it goes. But it's all card driven. And that's one of the cool things about it as well. There's a lot of arena combat style games out there, and a lot of them rely upon dice rolling, which is cool. I don't have a problem with dice rolling at all, but having card-driven combat is, for me, a little bit more strategic, a little bit more tactical, because you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly how much damage that you're leveling against somebody. The only question is what cards do they have in their hand? And that, to me, feels like a little bit more like a battle, because you know what you can do. You don't know what they're going to come back with. Whereas if you're rolling dice, again, I like tactile dice rolling. I love that. It provides that unknown, mysterious factor to fighting. But I think it's a little bit more strategic and it's a little bit more tactical when you're talking about card-driven combat. So there is that. That's it in a nutshell. What are some of the things? And let me go ahead and share my pros and cons for the game, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Because that's one of the cool things I like about live reviews, is that it's not just me talking to you and you listening. This is me talking to you, you being able to talk back, and us having a conversation about the game. So that's one of the cool things about this kind of setup that I have going here. So anyway, simple mechanisms. That's my first pro. I taught the game in... because generally speaking, probably a couple of minutes before I actually ended, I'd say probably about 5 minutes before I ended, we would have started playing. And if you had any questions going through the game, that's what I would have addressed those during the game. So I would say probably 10 minutes at most. And that's if you take longer than you really should, which is kind of what I did, I know. But the mechanisms are not difficult at all. It's really simple. You only have 3 actions to choose from, and you can choose 2 of them. Maneuver, fight, or scheme. And you're just trying to knock out the other person's hero. So simple goals to go through, simple mechanisms in order to reach that goal. And it's just simply how are you going to use your character's abilities to outwit your opponent. And I love that. So that's my first pro about the game, is that simple mechanisms. They're easy to teach, but they're difficult to master. I think somebody who has played this game more than somebody else should usually come out the winner, because they know how to use their deck a little bit better than a person who's new to the game would be able to use their deck. So I think experience will usually prevail. But it is super easy to learn how to play the game. But then you have the difficulty of mastering it. The miniatures are very nice, and I want to go back to my phone here so that I can show off some of the miniatures details here. So let me see if I can get it here a little bit closer. So as you can see, this is the Winter Soldier. I love the fact that they have textured bases, and I think it's super awesome that these come with the game. And they're also kind of shaded, if I can put it that way. That's not inked. They've been given a wash. There we go. Used 3 different ways to say the same thing. That's textbook Sam. Sorry, but this is Winter Soldier, and as you can see, it's just a textbook pose for him. Great detail on the miniature and great detail on that textured base. Black Widow has probably one of the most action-packed stances, poses that I think I've ever seen. And again, it just kind of shows her, flamboyance, I guess you could say, in her attack style, and how she just kind of goes all out and just takes everything to where you're going to be. But this is a great pose as well. And then you have Black Panther, which again, a super dynamic pose. But I love those textured bases, and I haven't got to the point yet where I would want to paint these yet, because I like how they kind of look like stone, like a statue more than anything else. But I think it looks cool. But this is just to show you the detail that each of these minis have. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of that. So we're going to go back to this angle. All right. So the miniatures is my second pro. I think they're very well done. They're great poses. They have great detail, great molds, and I think they capture the essence of the characters. So the miniature quality is top notch. Simple mechanisms. Miniature quality is really high. And I already kind of touched on this next one, the unique decks that each of the characters have. They really bring to light that sense of individuality. No one character is the same. You will have some cards in the decks that are similar to other cards that are in other characters' decks, but the dispersal of those cards is so well done. I think that each of the different cards, sorry, hit the mic, my bad. Each of the different decks really feels like a different character. And when you have those different sidekicks that are thrown into the mix as well, that just differentiates it even further. So I really enjoy those unique decks. It's a really cool but solid variable player power mechanism that I really enjoy. I've already talked about this one as well. The next pro, the fourth pro, is the line of sight system. Loved it with Tannhäuser, and I love it here too. Let me go ahead and show you the other side of the deck, the other side of the board, so that I can, I did say I was going to do that. So here's the other side of the board. This side, you kind of, it's more picturesque, I guess you could say, because the rings are not as intrusive to the eye, but I have heard some people say that I've played it with, it makes the rings a little bit harder to see. This side is actually, you can tell just at a glance what zone your character is in, what zone the other character is in, and it's a lot easier, even if you're not colorblind, to see the different zones on this side. But it's a choice that you can make. So I do like the fact that these are double-sided, and I think that provides a level of attention to detail that I think, well, I wish more publishers took into effect. But I love that line of sight system that was used by from Tannhäuser, and I also love the fact, this is just kind of on a production kind of business end of it, I love the fact that they actually did give credit to zone rules inspired by the pathfinding system from Tannhäuser, designed by William Grosselin, Didier Poli, and published by Fantasy Flight Games. Love the fact that they gave credit where it was due, but I love the fact that they used this system that basically Fantasy Flight let die because they stopped producing Tannhäuser that used this pathfinding system, and I loved it, so I'm very glad that they brought it back. Artwork and graphic design is top notch. I love the backs of the cards are very picturesque, and all of the different pictures that are in this. Now, they do use some of the same pictures on some of the different cards, but usually it's the same card that they use the same artwork on, so I like that. These dials were very well designed, also a graphic design choice there. Ian O'Toole specifically did the artwork for the board on this copy, and he's a rock star, so that's cool as well. I just think that they've done such a great job at putting together, you know, it's not in your face artwork, but it's definitely thematic artwork, and that's what I like about it. So that is, those are my 5 pros for this game, and I think it's pretty encompassing everything that I like about it. There's one super minor con though, and that is this little guy right here. These are great. These are great. The fact that they have these character cards is kind of like a reminder of what your special ability is, and how much you can move, and what your sidekick is going to be able to do. The thing that I don't like about these is that the player aids are on the back. So in order to, you have to flip it over. I really think that the player aid should have been their own card. And I know that's a super minor nitpick thing, but in my opinion, it just would have made that extra level of attention to detail that I was talking about earlier. Now, with this particular case, there's 3 characters that come in the box. So if you're only playing 2 players, you can use that. You can take that 3rd character card and just flip it over as a reminder for both of you. And that kind of fixes the problem. But if you're dealing with just one of those 2-player boxes, you're kind of up a creek as far as having that reminder out there. Now, I get it. After a while, you're not going to need the reminder anymore. I get it. But I've got to look at it from all of the different angles here. And with respect to somebody just picking up this and this being their first foray into it, they're probably going to be using that player aid a lot more often. So I think as far as cons are concerned, that's the only one for this game. So what's my rating for the game? And that is going to be very, if you had if I have to do it, here you go. It's 2 thumbs up from me. I love the Unmatched system. I think it's a great arena combat style game for just 2 players, just 2 characters. A lot of people have, over the course of my time, have asked me, will you do a comparison video of this and Dice Throne? Well, as I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, I think this game is probably a little closer to Super Fantasy Brawl than it is to Dice Throne. But I understand Dice Throne is a heavy hitter right now. So they want to see, you know, I understand how people want to see the comparison between Unmatched and Dice Throne, and I'll get that. And I probably will do a video about it because I do have a lot of Dice Throne as well. But I think I'm also going to do a video about how does this compare to Super Fantasy Brawl. I might even just throw all of them in and compare all 3 of them to each other. That would probably be a better video, I think. So, but just to let you know, I am thinking about doing that. So, with that having been said, you heard my 5 pros and my 1 itty-bitty little tiny con. You saw that I have 2 thumbs up for this one. I really do enjoy this game. It's one that I enjoy playing a lot. And I'm thinking about doing an Unmatched tournament. I just have to work out the logistics of it. But I'm thinking about doing it. So keep that in mind. All right, let's get to how, let's see. Okay, I already got that. I really like Cobble and Fog. Yeah, Cobble and Fog, I think, is the one that I think most people talk about when people have it. When people talk about whether or not they like Unmatched, they say that Cobble and Fog is the best version of it. So Cobble and Fog, let me see here. I am trying to get to, yeah, there it is. Cobble and Fog. So this has the Invisible Man, Sherlock, and then Jekyll and Hyde. So that's what that one has. And yeah, I don't have that one yet, but it is touted. No, there's another one, isn't there? Sherlock. Oh, and Dracula. Yeah. So you've got Sherlock with Watson, the Invisible Man, Dracula and the sisters, and then Jekyll and Hyde together. So that's probably the one that has been, at least in my conversations, that's probably one of the more popular ones. But again, the cool thing about this game for me is that I can take Dracula up against Black Widow. I can take Sherlock Holmes up against Daredevil. I can take Bullseye up against Ghost Rider. So that's the cool factor for me. You have all of these characters that can just be thrown together. So I like it. I think it would be a great. I think it's just a great thing. I love it when games do that. Let's see here. Super easy to grok. No measuring sticks and all that. Absolutely. Sadly, some others are already in the vault. Oh, I don't know what that means. Grok is a term. Oh, Kabuki. There we go. Kabuki, pushing up the glasses there. Grok is a term from a Heinlein novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. It basically means to completely understand, to absorb and know everything about it. Yes, that is good. Yes, cool. Snake Eyes and Unmatched. Oh, that would be cool. Defender effects always trigger first when it comes to the same timing. Thank you, Revenant. I appreciate that. Matthew Vincent, Bloody Mary has the best card back. I can see that. Love the minis in these games. They could have done the standees to cut costs, but glad they didn't. I am also glad that they didn't, because I don't mind standees. I don't mind standees, but when you put standees up against minis, I will always choose minis, even if I have to pay a little bit more for it, because I just like minis that much better. What is Bjorn's rating? Well, Bjorn loves the Bigfoot versus Robin Hood set. He loves that. He really identifies with Bigfoot. And I think they have a really, really nice friendship going on. But he likes it as well. I would say he would probably give it 2 thumbs up, but he has to be playing Bigfoot. He doesn't like playing anybody else. So there you have it. Love the line of sight system in this. Hated having to get a string out for Warhammer all of the time. Or a laser pointer. I remember when laser pointers used to be a thing. Ian O'Toole is the man. Line of sight system is very good. Component quality of these games are very good. Yes, that's another thing. It doesn't matter what set you buy. You're going to have the same level of quality that I saw here, that I showed you here, including the detailed minis and the cards and the dials and all that kind of stuff. The level of component quality doesn't fluctuate between the different sets. It's all the same. They've done a very good job with that. So thank you for bringing that out, Revenant, in 2023. I appreciate it. 2 thumbs up and 2 big toes up too. Yep. That's pretty much the same of it. What are some of your favorite characters? Tom asked. Well, right now, my favorite characters are probably, I really do enjoy, and Jess mentioned this earlier, we really do enjoy the Houdini and the Genie box. We really enjoy playing that, Matt. We really enjoy how those 2 characters play off of each other. I wouldn't say they're my favorite characters, but we enjoy how they kind of synergize off of each other. Oh, wow. Right now, I really haven't played the others as much as I would want to. But I would say right now my favorite character is probably Black Widow. But Winter Soldier is a beast. Let me just say that. Winter Soldier is a beast. He starts with 15 health, and he's got combat cards of like 6s and 5s. So he is a hard hitter. And he doesn't come with a sidekick because he doesn't, frankly, need one. Everybody else comes with a sidekick, and so you're talking about they technically have more hit points, technically, but man, he is a heavy hitter. But I really like how Maria Hill and Black Widow play off each other as well. Last time I played this, I used Alice from Alice in Wonderland. Was a fun one. That does sound fun. Has that smash-up type of gameplay. Yes, exactly. Wish they created more space in the inserts for sleeved cards. Yeah, I usually don't sleeve these cards. With games like this, you do use the cards a lot, but you're not shuffling them a lot. So it doesn't really bother me as much, but I can see where you're coming from. Cobble and Flog does. Oh, Cobble and Flog does have enough cards, room for sleeve cards. Well, let's see here. We have the box here. This is what the insert looks like. This is what they're talking about. And it is a very nice insert. Awesome insert. I love these because it gives where each person is going to go and all of that kind of stuff. Cards for Winter Soldier go right down in here. I don't know, man. That seems like enough room to have sleeve cards in there. I don't, maybe not. Cool thing about it is that his dial goes right inside here, just like that. And then you have his cards go on top of him like that. I don't know. Let me just put it down here and catch it with the other angle. It seems to me like it's going to have enough room. I think. I mean, okay, that would go up in there like that. So we have these over here. That would go into Black Panther down here. I don't know. I don't sleeve my cards, so I can't tell you. But that looks like there should be enough room. Let me put it that way. There should be enough room for sleeves. But again, I haven't sleeved my cards, so I wouldn't really be able to say yes or no to that. But the inserts, thank you for mentioning the inserts, though. They're superbly well done. Played Robin Hood on the digital version. Want to play the physical version. Have yet to pick up that one. Okay, but minis with a nice wash and Sundrop are a plus. Yes, absolutely. Houdini Genie? Houdini. That's funny. Some major bugs since the Invisible Man came out, but very good. He's talking about the digital version. So our cards in my CF version are sleeved. I wasn't even aware of a digital version. It looks like enough room with sleeves. I think so too. I think the sleeve issue is mainly in the older 2-pack ones then. Oh, okay. So I think with the three, with the 3-packers, I think that they may have fixed that problem because I definitely think that there's enough room in there for sleeves. But that's it. I think we're going to be done. Unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up. Thank you for bringing up some of the things that I kind of glossed over. The insert is a really big thing, and I kind of lump that into the graphic design and artwork thing, or maybe even the components, whatever. But I think that because you do have to design an insert like that, and for it to be super well done, let me just go ahead and show you how this packages up real quick, so you kind of get the idea of how well these inserts work. So I've already put the 2 cards away. All of these board tokens. Let me make sure I got all of them. I think I did. All of these board tokens just go right in here like that. Boom, like that. And then Black Widow will go in here. No, that's Black Panther, sorry. Black Widow goes up there. I just saw the word black. There we go. And then these 2 cards here come in. And Black Widow is up there, but I do need to put Maria Hill in the bottom, and then her Black Widow's dial on top. Those nestle directly in there. We have Shuri goes right there, and then Maria Hill goes right there. Winter Soldier goes right there. Oh, I forgot to put these away. So that pops right there. This pops right there. That goes right there. And then the board folds up neatly on top, and rule book, box, and nothing really slides around. Nothing really slides around at all. So that is about that. Let's see. Everything absolutely does have a place. Dig the Moon of Vendor. Panorama pictures behind you, Sam. That was a gift from Jessie. She's the bomb. She knows what I like. So it's a very good insert for a very good game. And one of the good things about the game is that you can pretty much go and pick up any one of these different sets that are available and hit the ground running. It does not, you don't have to buy one over another. You get to choose. And that choice can be, well, I really like Marvel, so I'm going to pick up one of the Marvel sets. Oh, well, I really like, you know, the classics, so I'm going to go with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Sherlock Holmes and the Invisible Man and all of that, Cobble and Fogg. Or I'm going to go with Houdini and Genie, just to pick up a couple of them. You know, that's one of the cool things about it. You can pick up any one of these packs, and you'll have the same kind of experience as you would with any of the others. The difference being, of course, that the characters are going to be different, and that's it. So 2 thumbs up. I really enjoy this game a lot, and I hope that they continue coming out with it, and I hope that I'm able to get that tournament scheduled and going. Ricky Ruiz says, love the way the boxes look on their side. Makes for a great conversation starter for non-gamers when they see the shelf. Yep, that's also a cool thing. So you can see that there are different artwork images on the sides of the boxes. There's Black Widow there, and then another Black Widow here as well. And then you also have Winter Soldier on the side too. So there's always there, and thank you for saying it that way, Kabuki. That is exactly what I'm talking about. There's something for everyone. You can choose what you'd like and go with it that way. But it's a great system, Unmatched game system. Go check it out on BGG. The link for that is in the description. There's also a link for Game Toppers as well. They have their new 4.0 Kickstarter coming up next Tuesday. Man, it's getting close. Follow them on Instagram and Twitter and on Facebook, because they're showing off all of their new playmats. They have 10 new playmats coming out, and my goodness, they showed the nature one today, and it looks so awesome. Anyway, just take that out. They are helping. They're a partner of the channel, so I want to give them using my Holmes Game Topper, and we also use the Pirate playmat here today. So go check them out as well. You'll find their link in the description below as well. So go check that out. Go Berkey is super cool. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this live review. I hope you found it useful. I know it's a little bit longer, but hopefully you'll be able to glean whether or not you're going to pick this up. 2 thumbs up from me for any one of these. The Unmatched game system is something else. So go check it out. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.